So what happens when you actually pitch? Basically, every industry that I mentioned wants to hear what your project is differently. The number one thing that you have to understand is that if you don't understand how to talk to us about your project, we can't work with you. It doesn't mean that your project is good or bad. It just means that we don't understand it. If we don't understand it, we can't sell it. We can't sell it to the people that we're supposed to be talking to. So when you talk to us, you have to be as crystal clear as you can. So a lot of people will say, well, you know, it's a lot easier to write a 110-page screenplay or a 300-page novel than it is to just do this. And I'm sure many of you have had this opportunity where you've been in a social situation. Forget about us industry people, where you've been at a wedding, maybe a funeral, you've been out at a bar, you might be at a networking event, and somebody asks you that infamous question. So what's your project about? They find out that you're writing something. Hey, I'm writing a blank. Oh, what are you writing? What's it about? And you may fumble and stumble, or you may just absolutely talk for 5 minutes and you've lost them because they're trying to figure out what to drink. Does this sound familiar? Okay. That's the reason why we want you to understand what to do. In the media, we need you to be really clear about what kind of an interview you can do with us. A lot of people want to tell us in the media, this is my project, this is my story, this is my memoir, this is my you name it. Okay? That's great. A Today Show interview is 4 minutes, no worries. A Today Show interview is 4 minutes. You get to answer about 4 questions, if that. Because you're going to have pleasantries at the beginning, and you're going to have pleasantries at the end, and there are going to be questions back and forth, and that's it. You're off. So the first thing about the media I suggest that you do is watch your favorite show. I don't care if it's on E, if it's the Today Show, pick whichever morning show you want, pick whichever talk show you want, and time it. That's how long you have if you actually get on the air. When you want to get to us and you want to use a press release, your headline is about 60 to 70% of what we're looking for. It's 100 words or less. Okay? That's really important for you to know, because a lot of people spend less time on their headline and more time in the body of that press release telling us what their project is about. And if we don't open that headline, we're never going to read it. So your headline has to be meaningful. Okay? That's the most important thing you can do for us. The other thing is, if you're going to pitch us for a show, a particular show, the Talk, the View, pick your favorite morning show of your choice, watch the show or listen to the radio show. If your project doesn't fit that show, please don't pitch. Make it so that your project is relevant to that show. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Why would you want to go through all the energy, time, and effort to pitch us if it's not relevant? I'll give you a great example. On my show, I interview people with books. When they're an author, they can get on my show. If they work in the industry, they can get on my show. If they work in film and television, they can get on my show. I have publicists who send me all kinds of junk that I never open. I never open it because I know there's no book. And I know it's not an industry professional, so I'm not going to use my precious time to read that release. On a television show, they have producers. Their whole job is to find content. Their whole job is to find you with your project. So if you can tell us what kind of program or what kind of segment you can contribute, you're actually going to do us a favor and tell us what kind of show segment you would be on. That's really important, because if you can't do that, we have to figure it out. And in your press release, if we can't figure out what it is and how it's relevant, we're on the next one. Now, film and television, as far as television series and film, Mary's going to talk about in just a moment. For me, when you pitch me, I will usually give you about 5 minutes to tell me what's going on. And I have a lot of patience because I'm also a writer. So I let people stumble and bumble and fumble a little bit when I meet them at a wedding, at a social event. Okay. The most important thing for me, though, is I have a greater attention span than most of the people in my business. I also have a lot of questions because if it doesn't fit, I can't cover it. I also write for HuffPost books. So if it's not relevant, I'm not covering it. It doesn't matter. I want what I'm doing to actually fit my voice, just like what you're writing needs to fit your voice. Does that make sense to you? Okay, so become an investigative reporter. When you're actually going for the media, we are the one industry you can find the most about when you want to get to us. You may not be able to find that senior producer, but you certainly can find out about our shows. You certainly can find out about our content and what we like to cover. And the other thing is, if you're not following current events and figuring out what's relevant to your project and current events, you're missing a huge pitching opportunity for us. Because when something happens in the news, we are looking for you. We're looking for the people who have projects that relate to what's happened. And we're looking for other people that can comment on what's occurred. Okay, so you want to actually create alerts. If you use Google or another search engine, you should be using alerts for keywords that are related to your project. If you don't know what those keywords are, that's where you need to begin.